Good morning. My name is Lee Velten. I work at the Idaho Procurement Technical Assistance Center, the PTAC, and out of the Nampa office. And I am here today to give you my portion of the presentation on doing business with the government. A little bit about the Idaho PTAC. Here's our mission statement. You can read, so I don't need to read to you. We are basically an advocate for Idaho-based businesses wanting to do contracting. So we will assist you with contracting. To work with the Idaho PTAC, high-speed email is a must. The federal government, which is mostly what we're geared towards, is federal contracting, but we will help you with state, local government, and commercial contracting. But if you're dealing with the federal government, high-speed email is a must. They don't do stuff with paper anymore. It's mostly all done emails. So when you answer solicitation and put your bids and proposals together, you have to email them to the government entities. You do have to be an Idaho-based company to work with the Idaho PTAC. There are PTACs in all 50 states and 4 of the U.S. territories. So if you are outside of Idaho, we will find a PTAC for you to work with. And then we do ask that you go online and to our website, there it is, and that you complete a little client registration form with us so we can get credit for working with you. Government contracting, is it right for you? Well, first of all, the government doesn't make anything, and the government, for the most part, doesn't provide any services. So they literally contract for all goods and services that the government uses. So they use anything you can think of, they use. The key thing is the who, what, when, where, why, and how of your product or service, and that's what we will help you to determine. Okay? You need to be prepared to follow rules and regulations when it's federal government. Okay? There are lots of rules and regulations, but don't let that scare you, because the PTAC can help you understand what the government is asking for and the rules you have to follow to do it. You must have adequate financial preparation to work with the federal government. What I mean by that is, if you win a contract with the government and it's for a certain dollar amount, remember the government doesn't pay for anything up front. You are going to have to work at your contract for a period of time, 3, maybe even 6 months before you receive your first payment from the government. So you've got to have the financial wherewithals to cover your overhead until you can get those government dollars. If you look at government contracting as another source of income for your already successful commercial business, that's the best way to do federal contracting. Now, I do want to tell you there are about 29 small businesses, give or take, in the United States, and only 2% of them do business under contracting with the federal government. Yet the federal government has a 23% set aside for their dollars on small business contracting. Over the last several years, that's been about $460 billion a year, and they have met their 23% goal. So there are small businesses out there taking advantage of government contracting and making money. You must realize also that any federal contract with an estimated value of $250,000 or less is an automatic set aside for a small business. So only small businesses bid on them and are awarded those types of contracts. And literally there are thousands of those every month. Here's today's agenda. We're going to talk about getting you ready to do business with the government, understanding solicitations, how to put a bid together, bidding successfully, how to perform, and then the closeout. So we'll cover the whole gamut of the government contracting today. I do want to tell you, though, there's an axiom in federal contracting. The federal government is never going to lie to you, but the truth changes. Okay, so, and I'll point those out. The truth changes all the time, and I'll point that out in the presentation as we go through. Quick little registration checklist that I give to our new clients to getting started. These are the bare bones minimum of getting ready to do business with the federal government. You've got to determine your North American Industrial Classification System, or NAICS code. You have to obtain a Data Universal Numbering System, DUNS number from Dun & Bradstreet. We do ask that you enroll with the Idaho PTAC. That's not necessary to do federal contracting, but it's highly recommended. You have to be registered in the System for Award Management, SAM, and then I highly recommend you enter your information into the Dynamic Small Business Search, and I'll explain the importance of that a little bit later. If you learn nothing else on this slide, look at the last bullet, track usernames and passwords. Determine a system early on, if you're going to do contracting, to track usernames and passwords because you're going to have a bunch of them. Okay. Let's talk about a NAICS code, North American Industrial Classification System code. There's the website where you obtain you can look up your NAICS codes. It is a searchable website. It has 3 search engines. There are 2 historical search engines. I recommend you use the 2017, the most recent search engine, to determine your NAICS codes that are applicable. You just put in a keyword like framing. If you're in construction, you could put in framing or site preparation, that sort of thing. It will develop a list of NAICS codes that you can look at, and you can determine whether or not that they will apply to your business. You're probably going to have multiple NAICS codes under which you can do business with the federal government. DUNS number, Data Universal Numbering System number. It is a free registration. It is run by Dun & Bradstreet for the federal government. Dun & Bradstreet has run it for about 25 years now. But again, here is the truth is changing on this. On Dun & Bradstreet, on the DUNS number, it's just a 9-digit number assigned to you. You need to update it only when 4 things occur: when you change the name of your business, when you change the ownership of your business, when you change the organization of your business, or when you change the physical address of your business. You have to update. Other than that, you don't have to update Dun & Bradstreet and your DUNS number. Now, coming 1 October, we're going to have, DUNS numbers are going to be replaced. They are either going to be called SAMIs, System for Award Management Managed Integrators, or it's going to be called a Unique Item Identifier. We're not quite sure what's going to happen or how it's going to happen or what the transition will look like, but there will be a transition. Ernst & Young now has the contract starting 1 October instead of Dun & Bradstreet. So be prepared, more information to follow, and I will pass that out in emails as I learn more about how the transition is going to go. Enrolling with the Idaho PTAC, there is our website. There is a little button at the bottom of the page of the home page that says register for the Idaho PTAC. It's a very easy form to fill in. Remember, in the products and services offered box is where I want keywords that describe what you're looking to do for the government and a search area, i.e. states you're willing to do work in. Those I will talk about how I process that application a little bit later. The System for Award Management, SAM. This is the federal government's vendor registration database. You've got to be in SAM and have an active registration and a CAGE code, Commercial and Government Entity Code, which you get assigned as part of your SAM registration. You have to have that in order to do business with the government. It's how you get paid, basically. Your registration in SAM has to be updated annually, but I caution my clients to make sure you keep your financial information, because that's how you get paid, the bank account that you designate in SAM, and your government business point of contact information. Keep those updated at all time. If those change before your 1-year expiration, go ahead and re-register, make the change, and you start a new 1-year cycle from the date of that change when it has to be updated again. Okay. Things you will need to do DUNS: you will need your banking information, you will need a checking or savings account, you will need a routing number, you will need the account number, you will need the information on the account, the name and address on the account. You will also need your DUNS number, you will need all of your NAICS codes, and you will need your tax identification number. Those things are all required. And if you need help with any of those, especially NAICS, DUNS, or tax IDs, I can't help you with your banking information, but I can help you with that if you give me a quick call. Now, I do have a date there, 26 October 2018. That's an important date because as of that date, you are not eligible to bid on a federal solicitation unless your registration is active in SAM at the date of your bid or proposal. So it's important. If you keep your SAM registration active all the time, you never have to worry. So don't let it expire. Do your re-registrations and your updates. The Dynamic Small Business Search. Okay, SAM is where you initially populate the Small Business Administration's Dynamic Small Business Search. Okay, the importance of the Dynamic Small Business Search: federal contracting officials are required to do market research before they put a solicitation on the street in Fed Biz Ops. Okay, every federal contracting officer I know, at a minimum, uses the Dynamic Small Business Search to do market research. Sometimes that's all they use because they can get enough information in a dynamic small business search. Now, I liken the dynamic small business search, if you were around in the 60s and 70s, I liken this to if I offered you a free full page yellow page ad in every yellow pages across the United States, would you take it? Okay. This is your free yellow page ad if you want to do federal contracting. So it behooves you to not only download it, but then to go back in. There are 9 optional fields, and I have them listed there, in which there is 0 information that is downloaded from SAM. You have to physically go in to your dynamic small business search profile and populate those 9 fields. Capabilities narrative, I have 4 of them highlighted because they're extremely important. A capabilities narrative, a short description, painting a picture in words to the government contracting officer of what your business does day to day, what your expertise is. Bonding levels, especially important if you're in construction or if you have a service that falls under the Federal Service Contract Act of 1965. The federal government requires bonding if you're going to do work with them. Keywords, again, very, very important keywords. Not only the keywords that you give me for when I do a search for you, but the keywords that are in here. This is the only site a federal contracting officer has where he can do a keyword search. Okay, so you've got to put keywords in there if you want them to find you. And then last but not least, certainly, is a performance history. If you're in business, you've got some history of performance. I recommend to my clients that you have a mix of federal, other government, and commercial past performance in there. Now, if you're just starting out and all you've got is commercial, put commercial in there. But remember, it's called the dynamic small business search, not the static small business search. So you need to go in periodically, review your dynamic small business search, and make those updates to help that contracting officer find you. Cybersecurity. Cybersecurity has been a law for about 3 years now. As of the 1st of October last year, it became a requirement if you're going to do contracting with the Department of Defense. Many Department of Defense solicitations that you will see will have a FAR clause that requires cybersecurity. So if you do not if you have not done a self-evaluation and you have not created a cybersecurity plan for your business, and cybersecurity FAR clause is checked in that DoD solicitation, you can't bid on the solicitation. Okay. Well, you can bid, but the chances of you getting the award, because they're going to check your cybersecurity plan, are probably 0. Okay, so a word to the wise, start looking at cybersecurity. It is now a requirement, not only a requirement for DoD, but I believe in the next several years it's going to be a requirement across the federal government. Okay. Now, not in all solicitations, because all solicitations don't have information that the government wants protected. But for those solicitations where the government has identified controlled, unclassified information that they want protected, cybersecurity is going to be a requirement. Now, there's a link to a cybersecurity video that you can look at if you want to understand cybersecurity a little bit better. Also, if you want to do an assessment, I can lead you to some self-assessment tools and some cybersecurity templates, plan templates, that will help you do a self-assessment and develop a basic plan to satisfy the DoD requirement. Marketing strategy. We will help you identify the who, what, when, where, why, and how that I talked about earlier for your products and services that you want to offer to the government. Now, we use a lot of open source material, and it's no mystery. We use the Federal Procurement Data System. There's the website for it. You can literally go in and look up for the past 35 years every federal dollar that has been spent as part of a contract will be posted in FPDS. You can find the agency that put it out, the sub-agency, the local office, who it was awarded to, what the dollar amount was. You can find out whether it was a single contract for 1 year or whether it was a single contract or 1 year contract with 2 or 4 base option years. Okay, and that's important because those type of contracts are rebid. So it's nice to figure out who the last award winner was if you're going to be bidding on that contract in the future. FedBizOps, Federal Business Opportunities, that is the site where every federal solicitation over an estimated value of $25,000 is required by law to be posted. It's called FedBizOps, and there's a website for it. Now, I do want to caution you, starting first quarter of this coming fiscal year, there is a plan to move FedBizOps under the System for Award Management. There is a site already open in the System for Award Management. It's at beta.sam.gov. It's a test site where there is a test FBO opportunity site that's open. Okay, realize the information there and the information here are duplicated right now. You must use FedBizOps because that is the active site right now. But realize when they do convert it, and there will be a certain time frame, FedBizOps, as we know it, will close, and your opportunities to the federal government or your solicitations will be posted at beta.sam.gov under the Opportunities tab. Okay, so that's coming. Don't know exactly when that's going to be. They said first quarter, but we'll see. Again, it's all things in the government. We're not going to lie to you, but the truth changes, so it'll happen. Our directory of buyers, there's our website. We have a little tab that's called Directory of Buyers. In that, we have an Excel spreadsheet listing about 1,000 plus buyers, small business liaison officers, offices of small and disadvantaged business utilization that you may want to market your products and services to. And it's a very handy and usable file. We're in the process of updating it right now. It's about a year old, so I'd say the information is about 80% accurate right now. Our goal when we publish it very shortly, probably by the end of this month, will be 100% accuracy. Okay. And finally, GSA eLibrary. There is the website for GSA eLibrary. GSA, General Services Administration, is a federal government agency that is self-funded, that has lists of standing vendors that can do business with the federal government. And I'll talk about GSA in a subsequent slide here in a little bit more detail so you can understand it. The key to this slide again, if you're going to visit contracting officers, make sure you have business cards and capability statements. You want to leave something with them before you go. I recommend to my clients you probably use the same vehicle all the time when you're traveling for work. I recommend you have a little portfolio, you have capability statements and business cards in that portfolio so you're never without them. Because you never know when you're going to run across a contracting officer that you want to leave some information to, other than verbally talking to them. Now, a capability statement, what is it? It's nothing more than a one-page business resume. It talks about your business, where you're located. It's got three things. It's got core competencies, what you do well. It's got past performance, what you've done. And it's got differentiators, what separates you from your competition. I have a format for this. I'd be happy to provide it to you along with a couple of examples. All you have to do is send me an email. Now, capability statements, you're going to use it to market your company. Okay, it's going to be a marketing tool for you. The federal government, when you send them capability statements, they use it in conjunction with the Dynamic Small Business Search when they need to do market research before they put a solicitation on the street. If they've got a number of capability statements in the area or field that they're looking to put a solicitation, they may go to those and look at them. And other companies, especially the larger small businesses and the businesses that are other than small, will use your capability statement as for a directory of subcontractors that they need. Realize that if a federal contract above a dollar threshold, depending on the field, is awarded to an other than small business, that prime, large prime, let's call them, is required to have a subcontracting plan where they show where 23% of the value of the contract is going to be subbed out to small businesses. Okay? And they have to satisfy that before they're awarded the contract. Marketing strategy, micro purchases. Remember I told you the federal government posts on FedBizOps every contract above $25,000. Okay, now, the government does still use credit cards to buy things. They have recently been given approval to go up to $10,000. Okay, so if a particular buyer has a warrant for his particular credit card that he can go up to $10,000, he can buy products and services off of that credit card. Okay, the key to that is it's not solicited, and there's no guarantee. The disadvantage for the small business is you've got to accept Visa or MasterCard. Okay, there's a cost of doing business with Visa or MasterCard, 2, 3, 4%, depending on what company you go with and how you got it set up. Okay, but as I tell my clients, you can always build that into the price you offer the federal government. The federal government doesn't expect you to lose money doing business with them. Okay, now, there are different limits. If it's construction, they can't go over $2,000. So there's not a lot of construction work that's done off of a credit card for the federal government. And same way for some services that are covered by the Federal Service Contract Act of 1965, that limit's $2,500. So those type services are usually solicited rather than purchased on a credit card. Local postings, let's talk about FBOs, everything over 25,000. They can do business 10,000 and below with their credit card. There's a little wiggle room in there that they use where they don't have to post on FedBizOps, but they can't do it with a credit card. So where do you find those types of solicitations? Well, they're found on local bulletin boards or invitations to bid. If a contracting officer has enough capability statements, he can actually send out an invitation to bid to 2, 3, or 4 small businesses saying, I want you to bid on this contract with me, and you can literally get awarded a contract in 24 to 48 hours that way. Now, the local bulletin board, they're usually electronic in nature, and where I know about them, I search them on a daily basis. There are some bulletin boards, believe it or not, that are still cork bulletin boards. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in Walla Walla, Washington has a cork bulletin board in the lobby of their office where they post these. Okay, I get them also because I've got an agreement with the Small Business Liaison Officer in Walla Walla, and he sends it to me. Okay, so you can see capability statements are important so they know who you are, where you are, and what you can do. And most of these bids are the rule of 2. If they can get 2 or more people to bid on them, then they're going to award a contract. Okay, if they can only find 1 person, they can still award a contract, but they usually want 2 or more competitive bids before they will award. General Services Administration. I talked about this earlier. GSA is a government agency that self-funds, and they maintain a list of approved vendors that contracting officers can negotiate directly one-on-one. Okay, now, as of the 1st of October coming up, I've got some numbers in there and I'll explain that to you. There are currently 24 major category GSA schedules. Okay, as of 1 October, they're going to reduce that to 1 GSA schedule. That 1 GSA schedule will have 13 parts and 81 subparts. Okay, and approximately 300 individual schedule identification numbers or SINs. Okay, the current system has 24 with 900 plus SINs. So GSA is trying to reduce the confusion in their GSA schedules and the duplication and the overlap. Okay, now what it's going to look like specifically, I don't know yet. GSA is still developing that. But rest assured, when I know, I will send it out to my clients and you will know what I know about GSA schedules when it happens. Okay, I get clients ask me all the time, should I have a GSA schedule? There's one answer I always give them: do your market research. Okay, go to the GSA schedule with either one of these, plug in a keyword, and it'll open up a schedule identification or SIN number under which you can potentially do business. Okay, look at that schedule. You'll see a number of companies. There could be anywhere from 20 to 200 companies on that particular schedule. Okay, you can look at the following information. You can look and see, have they done any business off their GSA schedule? You can look and see what their catalog looks like of price of products and services. You can look at their prices. They have to have a price catalog. So you can see how they're pricing their products and services that they're offering to the federal government. If you can be competitive, then you may want to think about a GSA schedule. Okay? If you can't be competitive, you've done your market research, close it up. Because if you can't be competitive with the people that are already on a GSA schedule, your chances of getting put on that GSA schedule by the contracting officer that owns the schedule are pretty slim, okay, or about 0. Okay. If you need assistance or you want some more information about GSA schedules, that's a whole nother briefing that takes about an hour and a half, and I'll be glad to sit down with you, go over it, and answer your questions, your specific questions on GSA schedules. The advantage of GSA schedules to federal contracting officers, is in the last 2 months of the federal fiscal year, we're in the last month now, September, but August and September, they normally get every year a dump of money from higher headquarters to lower headquarters that they have to obligate or lose. Okay? The advantage of the GSA schedule is they can go one-on-one, obligate that money rather quickly. Why don't they use it all the time in contracting? They don't, because most contracting officers feel they can be better stewards of the government's money by doing open solicitations rather than using the GSA schedule. Okay? And that's a fact. They can get better prices than the GSA schedule. But the GSA schedule is there. Certain headquarters, departments require their contracting officers to use the GSA schedule. I'll give you an example. Furniture, any purchase over $500,000, normally they require to use them the GSA schedule. Most IT services over $50,000, most agencies require their contracting officers to use the GSA schedule rather than to open solicit. That's just a couple of examples. Our bid match system, okay? Remember I told you when you sign up with us, I want keywords describing what you do and states you're willing to work in. Okay, I plug that into our database. We search about 2,350 websites a day, FedBizOps being just one website. Okay? And we send you each and every business day an email. And the email will say, there are no matches today, or here are the matches that you may want to look at. Now, depending on how broad your search is or how narrow your search is, that will determine how many bids you get or potential bids you get on a daily basis. And it varies by field, so I can't tell you how many, but we can get it going so you can take a look at it. Okay. On the bids I send you, look for opportunities to be a subcontractor. We call it Tier 1 subcontractor. If you're in construction and you're a very small firm and you received a bid from me and the estimated value was between $5 and $10 million, well, you probably can't bond to that level, first of all. So, but there may be bits and pieces in that solicitation that fits you to a T. Okay? The solicitation may be that work may be performed in the state of Idaho. It may be performed close to you. So you never know who's going to be the winner of that thing. It may be some company from upstate New York. And believe me, rather than mobilize the subcontractors that they would normally use to come all the way to Idaho to do the work and send them home, oftentimes they look for subcontractors in the area to perform on that contract for them because it saves them money on the overall contract. Okay, so don't automatically blow off the things you can't bid on. Look to be an interested vendor. If it's a federal solicitation, there's a tab that says list of interested vendors where you can put your name in there. Potentially a large primer other than very small business that is the award winner may look to you to do a portion of the work. If you propose, offer, or bid on a solicitation and you are not the winner, make sure you ask for a debriefing. The federal contracting officers are required by law to give a debriefing. Now, you will be notified either you were eliminated from the competitive range for a certain reason, or when the bid is awarded, you will be notified you were the award winner or you weren't the award winner. Okay? I tell my clients, if you are notified, request that debriefing within 3 days. By law, you've got 3 days to request it. If you are eliminated from the competitive range, tell the contracting officer in your request, I've been eliminated, but I'd like my debriefing to be given after award of contract. Okay? It's intuitively obvious why you want to do that, because about the only thing you can be told if you're eliminated from the competitive range is why you were eliminated. But if you wait until after award of contract, look at all the other information that you can pick up. You're going to be bidding on the same types of jobs over and over and over. They're for different agencies, they're for different contracting officers, but your business model is your business model. So the more information you can gain on the individual solicitation that you offer against, the better off it's going to be when you put your next offer together for a solicitation. If you win the bid, obviously you want to do the best possible job you can do. Okay? At certain trigger levels, and there they are, you can see them, you are going to be given a formal past performance evaluation by the contracting officer. Okay, now this is done under CPARS, Contractor Performance Assessment Reporting System, CPARS. Okay, it used to be recorded in the past performance information retrieval system. That system is now gone. That's another change. We're not lying to you, but the truth has changed. CPARS is now the formal assessment tool and the system that keeps tracks of past performances. Now, you can always ask a contracting officer for a past performance review, even if you're below those levels, or if you're a tier 1 or tier 2 sub, especially if you've done a good job for them. Sometimes they put them in there because they understand the importance of the CPARS evaluation and the overall contracting system. Now, I'll tell you some examples I've had. I've seen where contracting officers are just about to award to a prospective award winner or potential award winner on a contract. The last thing they're required to do by law is to check CPARS, it used to be CPARS now, and to see if there's any derogatory information on that company. I have seen where there is enough derogatory information in a company in CPARS that the contracting officer by law is allowed to pass over them and to award to the next lowest bidder. So pay attention. If you get an email that says CPARS on it, don't put it in the list of things to do box. Pay attention to it now, look at it, and respond to it. Okay? You have a chance to input before it becomes final. Once it becomes final, it resides in CPARS for 3 years unchanged. Other PTAC services that we offer. We will talk to you. If you want to talk about government contracting or have questions, we will talk to you about government contracting. We have a pretty good library, reference library, so I can find out information and quotes for you, and we can talk about the FAR, other things like that that maybe you don't understand. We do offer training workshops throughout the state. This is one of these training workshops that we offer. Other ones that we have prepared are how to develop a good capability statement, how to market to the federal government. We're working on one right now, which is how to build a proposal. We'll take an old contract from the U.S. or solicitation from the U.S. Forest Service, go through it line by line, and show you how to build the bid for that particular solicitation. Bid assistance. We will notify you of solicitations that you may want to bid on. We cannot build your proposal or bid in answer to a solicitation. I'm allowed legally to sit down with you and go over a solicitation and help you identify how to build your proposal, an outlet or a template, okay? You got to then go back and do your best job of writing it, okay? The other thing is, if you decide you're going to bid on a solicitation and you want us to review it before you send it in, that's another service we offer. All I ask is enough leeway. Once you know you're going to bid on it, send me an email or a phone call telling me who the agency was and what the solicitation number is. That allows me to go in and read it, to build an outline that I think will match or should be a template for me of what your solicitation should look like or your proposal should look like. And I could very easily then take your proposal and the template I developed and see if you have missed any requirements or you've got stuff misordered or a bunch of other things. One of the things I see all the time in federal contracting, there will be a line in the solicitation that says you will identify all subcontractors you plan to use in performance of this solicitation in your proposal or review. A small business on a $50,000 contract, a lot of times they'll ignore that because it's intuitively obvious to them that they're going to do all of the work. So they forget to put the line in there, I do not plan on using any federal or any subcontractors in the performance of the statement of work. Okay? Without that statement in there, your proposal literally is thrown in the garbage as being non-compliant because you didn't answer a requirement in the solicitation. And there are other examples I could tell you about, which is why we review things. The Idaho Small Business Contracting Symposium. This is an annual event that we hold where we bring in about 50 to 60 federal, state, local, large prime contracting officers, buyers, small business liaison officers, and we sit them at tables and chairs, and you get to go around with your business cards and your capability statements. And it's a big networking. It's a big networking and matchmaking event. Okay. The next one will be in Coeur d'Alene on the 9th of April in 2020. We're expecting 200 plus businesses, and I'm going to have about 60 contracting officers there, give or take a few. So it's a good opportunity for you. We do also offer at these things, we offer little snippets, little training sessions for about an hour on topics of interest. One of them will be coming up. One of them will be doing business with Hill Air Force Base, which is one of the 3 U.S. Air Force sustainment centers in the United States. They will be there putting on a short presentation. And there are other things like that. A quick review. There's our website. I talked about bid match, how to complete your bid packages and what we can do, the counseling we can offer, directory of buyers, training workshops, a number of other things. I do want to point out this is all at no cost to you. Okay, free. Okay, we are funded by the federal government, Defense Logistics Agency, the majority of our funding, and then we are also funded by the state of Idaho. So we are here to help you. If you're not taking advantage of us, chances are your competitor is. There are the personnel right now. That make up our counseling in the PTAC. We have a program director and 2 counselors. Myself, I'm located in Nampa, Idaho, and Dr. Omotoa is in Idaho Falls. In January, February, thereabouts, a little soft right now, we should be opening up an office in the Lewiston, Coeur d'Alene area, and we'll be hiring another analyst for that area to help out. What are your questions?